Our Monday afternoon quarterback is with us now. Frank Holmes joins us for Gold Game Film. Frank, nice to see you.
Hello, hello, hello. It's good to be here from San Antonio.
Frank, forget Monday Night Football. The most watched event this week should be the FOMC, right?
Yes, right. That's where all the action in the end zone is going to be coming up on Wednesday. Domestic North America, and for the dollar, all eyes are going to be on Wednesday. Now, the industrial production numbers came out, and they were a little quieter than it was expected. They were slightly negative. People were expecting a 0.3 positive versus a negative 0.1 for today, but still hasn't really impacted interest rates. And we're having this spectacular rise in 5-year and 10-year, but in particular, the 5-year bond.
And Frank, sorry to use another football pun here. However, investors are watching what Yellen will do. Will rates fumble?
Well, that's the big question, is wordsmithing. How will she describe the exit by the Federal Reserve from the bond market? And will they be looking at an extended period of time before they'll change interest rates? Or now will they be passing to the capital markets a stick of dynamite with a very short fuse? Now,
Frank, in a worst-case scenario, the Fed would raise rates too quickly, and this would derail, in turn, the U.S. stock market rally and the U.S. economy?
Oh, it would derail. I mean, I think that clearly last year when mortgages started rising, many tract homes in America, all of a sudden, people didn't qualify. And the same thing will happen here, is that all of a sudden car loans, et cetera, people just won't qualify. And I think that we're going to have to deal with that. And we saw that in Europe. So they've got negative interest rates in Europe. And that's making the euro fall relative to the dollar.
But see, Frank, that's interesting because usually when we speak of higher interest rates, we think that would be negative for gold.
Correct. Short term, it could be bad for gold when you look at the fear trade. And the fear trade are always two factors. Real interest rates. So let's take a look at the 5-year note. It's 1.8%. Inflation was running at 2%. If inflation falls to it's less than 1.8%, then all of a sudden it's positive. Gold always falls. So we had last year the 5-year government bond went from a negative 50 basis points to plus 50 basis points, and gold fell. Then it went negative again. Gold rallied. Now it looks like it's going to turn positive again, so gold's taking it on the chin.
Frank, I want to now pull up a chart of gold in euro terms. Is there a brighter story here?
Correct, and that's the whole thing of currency wars. And many commentators say the race to zero. So what currency is going to fall rather than what currency is going to be strong is basically all weak, but weaker. Some are much, much weaker. Right now, it's the euro.
Frank, let's get to our OT segment now, opportunities and threats. Frank, let's start with the Shanghai Exchange, which is supposed to be set up and running towards the end of September. Could this boost metal prices and demand?
Well, I think it's going to change the flow of gold, and I think it can provide a great opportunity remember, the strategy for China and Shanghai, because it created a tax-free zone, is to make this the dominant place of the world for gold trading. That's the long-term vision. And based on their size of their GDP and the growth rate, it's just a matter of time. I think it'll take place.
Shorter term, Frank, we have the Scottish referendum on Thursday. Could this cause or throw a curveball to gold?
Well, sure can, but predominantly through the currencies. What will it do to the pound versus the euro? Scots are more aligned with the euro. Then what will happen in Barcelona? What will happen in northern Spain? They'll also want to have a referendum to separate. And so it could be very disruptive, and maybe Italy will separate the North versus the South because the North always says they carry the South. So you may all of a sudden have a catalyst for truly disruptive countries throughout all of Europe.
All right, Frank, now let's end with your gold touchdown pass of the week. I'm sure we can assume safely what it is, but why don't you tell us?
The touchdown pass is stay tuned to CPI numbers and the FOMC meeting taking place this Wednesday. That will be an important catalyst for the dollar.
Frank, on that note, thanks so much. We'll definitely be watching what comes out of the FOMC in the meantime. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.